What would you risk to do the right thing? The rain pounded the streets of Chicago, turning the city into a maze of slick reflections and blurred lights. Marcus Turner, a 24-year-old delivery driver, navigated the evening rush with his beat-up bike, weaving through traffic. His life was a grind, long hours, low pay, and a one-room apartment he could barely afford. But Marcus had a spark, a quiet resolve to keep going, no matter how heavy the world felt. Tonight, that spark was about to ignite something extraordinary. He spotted her first near the towering glass offices of Michigan Avenue. A woman in her late 40s, sharply dressed in a tailored coat, was frantically searching her bag under a flickering streetlight. Papers scattered across the wet sidewalk, some caught in the wind. She looked like she belonged in a boardroom, not this chaos. Marcus slowed his bike, instinct nudging him to help despite the ticking clock on his delivery app. "Ma'am, you okay?" he called, hopping off his bike. Her head snapped up, eyes wide with panic. "My briefcase's gone. Contracts, client data, everything. I'm ruined if I don't find it." Her voice trembled, betraying the polished exterior. Marcus didn't hesitate. He scanned the street, spotting a group of teens nearby, one clutching a sleek black case. Without thinking, he sprinted after them. The chase led him into a dim alley, heart pounding as the teens vanished around a corner. Marcus wasn't a hero type, no grand notions of glory, but something about the woman's desperation stuck with him. Maybe it was the way her hands shook, or the fact that he knew what it felt like to lose something vital. He caught up to the group, breathless, and spotted the briefcase tossed carelessly against a dumpster. "Hey," he shouted, voice firm but not threatening. The teens turned, sizing him up. The leader, a wiry kid with a scar across his cheek, smirked. "What's it to you, man?" "That's not yours," Marcus said, stepping closer. His pulse raced, but his voice stayed steady. "Someone's life is in that case. You don't want that weight." The kid hesitated, then shrugged, tossing the briefcase at Marcus's feet. "Whatever. Not worth the hassle." They melted into the shadows, leaving Marcus alone with the rain and his thumping heart. He grabbed the case, checking it quickly, papers intact, slightly crumpled but safe. Back on Michigan Avenue, the woman, Catherine Wells, CEO of a rising tech firm, nearly collapsed with relief when Marcus handed her the briefcase. "You don't know what this means," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "Those documents theory my company's future, my employees' jobs." Marcus shrugged, water dripping from his hood. "Just doing what's right." Catherine studied him, her gaze sharp now, assessing. "What's your name?" "Marcus Turner," he said, already turning back to his bike. She called after him. "I'll find you, Marcus. This isn't over." Days passed, and Marcus forgot about the encounter. Marcus stared at the letter, stunned. Coding? He'd tinkered with computers as a kid, fixing neighbors' laptops for extra cash, but a career in tech felt like a dream for someone else. Yet here was a chance, real and tangible. He enrolled, nervous but determined, and found himself excelling. The boot camp wasn't easy, late nights, complex algorithms, but Marcus thrived, fueled by the same grit that had carried him through that rainy alley. Then came another surprise. During a guest lecture, a familiar face appeared, the wiry teen from the alley, now cleaned up and introduced as Jamal, a youth mentor at Catherine's outreach program. Jamal caught Marcus's eye and gave a sheepish nod. "Guess we both got a second shot, huh?" he said later. Catherine had tracked him down too, offering him a path out of trouble. The moment hit Marcus hard. Kindness wasn't just a one-off act. It rippled, changing lives in ways he hadn't imagined. Months later, Marcus graduated top of his class. Catherine attended, clapping proudly from the front row. She offered him a job at her firm, not as a favor, but because she'd seen his potential. "You didn't just save my documents," she told him. "You reminded me what integrity looks like. That's worth more than any contract." Marcus took the job, stepping into a world he'd once thought unreachable. He wasn't just a delivery driver anymore, was a coder, a creator, someone who mattered. But more than that, he carried a new belief. One act of courage could rewrite a life. His, Jamal's, even Catherine's. The rain still fell in Chicago, but for Marcus, the world looked brighter now. A single choice, made in a fleeting moment, had set him on a path he'd never dared to dream. And somewhere out there, another person was waiting for their chance to do the same. Yindi.